just kind of how the pace of this game is going to be going.
Sorry, we're having a slight issue here on this side, Dakota, but no worries. So yeah, an interesting pick with that Lina. I'm a little bit surprised to see her in the safe lane role. I'm trying to think of the last time. Here is one that comes to mind that was doing this kind of a little while ago. EG would pick it in the more sort of face rolly type matchups when they were big favorites. We can go ahead and cut back into the game here. I think we're all set. Thank you, production. All right, moving forward here. Virtus Pro on the Radiant side. I mean, what do you think about this Lina last pick? I'm still not sure what to make of it, honestly.
It's nice. She's a Yules candidate. The Yules could be very effective in this game in case you're potentially going to get thrown up and caught in a blood right. It will save you in situations like that, or jumping in Storm Spirit. But as far as the synergy that she has with her own lineup, I don't know. You get it with Naga. You get it with the Ensnare. You know, it's not as luxurious as your typical Lina lineup when you're putting it with something like a Shadow Demon, let's say, but I don't know. I'm a bit interested. Maybe Virtus Pro, they know, it's a long best of 3. Maybe feeling out game 1, trying things a bit different, because just looking over their recent history of matches, Lina is not on the docket. So maybe Illidan just looking to shake off the rust.
All right, trying to experiment a little bit here and possibly assign that VP, albeit just a little bit more aggressive. Lina can scale pretty well towards that late game, but she's not the end-all, be-all of carries by any stretch of the imagination. Oh, we're seeing 9 Pasha here. I think this is that new Bounty Hunter, or pardon me, Bloodseeker set I was looking at this morning. Man, he's looking tricked out today. Looks like, I'm not sure what he looks like. He looks funky, though.
It looks like he found something in the woods, cut it up, and threw it on his head. That's about as bad as I can be with it. They always look like the most demonic shit I've ever seen in my life, but I guess for that badass, it just seems fitting.
He's a very ritualistic individual, so sacrifices, corpses, what have you, that seems to fit his motif quite well. So let's see how these lanes will settle down here. Bottom, it looks like VP will be doing some dual lanes. Illidan on the Lina, and we'll see Lil here on the support Naga Siren. That puts G mid on the Shadow Fiend. He'll be supported by FNG on the Shadow Priest Dazzle. Already, Seam the Slayer flying over with that Arctic Burn. Going to harass back the Shadow Fiend as much as he can to try and make some space for no one, but FNG ready and waiting, kind of anticipating this sort of a play will be there to help assist in the rotation. Of course, in the off lane, that does leave DK Phobos on the Spirit Breaker.
I like Seam the Slayer taking a page out of the Soniko Wyvern book. It become quickly a classic. Just kind of hang out mid lane, fly over from the ledge, and dish out as much damage as possible with that first Arctic Burn. The ridiculous range, the slow, and even the extra bonus of DPS. Really great for zoning, and he's going to be using that now on DK Phobos. So you got Seam the Slayer on your Winter Wyvern for Vega. We got Solo, who's going to be playing your secondary support Disruptor in the lane. 9 Patch is going to be taking the farm on your Bloodseeker. Mid lane, no one playing your Storm Spirit. Along the bottom, we're going to have Mag, prominent offlaner in this game. He's going to be playing the Tusk. And pretty difficult lane matchup here. But then again, it's Naga. Naga support, not really one known to zone back too hard, but can still definitely trade with the Tusk. But First Blood is going to be happening in the mid lane. Jesus, these kills every game just seem to creep out of nowhere. Like, how does it happen in this high caliber of a game that you just kind of risk getting caught out at a Storm Spirit that before even level 6? Blows my mind.
Well, Phobos might go down now. Up top, the Arctic Burn, not quite enough. Oh, they almost get him, but he salves up, and he'll be able to go right back to that lane. But yeah, this early on, Storm Spirit without any rotation should not really be killing this Shadow Fiend. You look at his build, no point in Vortex. I don't know, man. On paper, you're not really supposed to count on that one.
Maybe just a bit of an overextension, eats one remnant too much, and they just get the easy orb walk. And I'm sure like a very lucky uphill connection probably led to that one. But look at this. Seam of the Slayer with those booties now on your Winter Wyvern, doing again a creep in the mid lane while Storm already has a power advantage. He wants to make it a bit bigger here. G's already down to about half life. Here he comes, flying from the skies. Arctic Burn to dish on out, but luckily FNG is nearby. Best at doing these kind of plays, being there in the nick of time, and Wyvern will go down to the last auto attack from the tower. Mag even getting involved here. Could be in trouble, but no. Uphill will miss and pops to the south, and now we have an even game 1-1.
Yeah, there you go. Last hit going the way of just the Radiant, so not ideal for the Shadow Fiend, but still gets something out of it. And Maybe they could have committed a little harder. I mean, they were going to lose their Wyvern anyway. Dazzle was still level 1 and didn't have a shallow grave, so they didn't have that full reset there to really make that an easy exchange. But still good news for Virtus Pro. Now Phobos in the mid, charging forward, but no one with a very defensive position will be A-OK, and no kill will come about here. So it looks like Phobos will just rotate back towards the top lane, and they'll leave G to his own farming devices. 9 Pasha, the big breadwinner so far, though, getting maximum space in this dire safe lane here, and currently the last hit leader.
Both off-laners struggling a little bit in their lane, trying to see if they can find some action elsewhere, but having to resort to being back in the lane doesn't really get a lot done. Almost Tusk and Spearbreaker kind of fit that same profile, so we'll have to see. Phobos for now at least just kind of hanging about the lane. Hates being too close right here. Disruptor, you know, he's one that regardless of charge out or not, he'll have that glimpse leveled up soon, and there will be really nowhere to run. But he'll hang out. He helps bodyguard the rune. It's going to be snagged up here from G. And G actually ascending to the high ground on the other side. Still level 5. And your Storm Spirit is about to be level 6. Uh-oh. What's happening over here? Lil, behind enemy territory. They see her. And she is way too far from home. And gonna get chopped down. Okay, Lil, how's it going? That's an easy kill for Vega.
I mean, was he looking for a courier? I mean, what was the purpose of that?
4 minutes in? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting. I'm not sure exactly what Lil had in mind there, but will be a freebie here for Vega. Just making a little bit of space for that Shadow Fiend. He'll be able to catch up in CS against the Storm, so that's one positive from that death there, but a very small one at that. Illidan now getting a lot of space himself. He has invested in the early power treads, gone for the magic wand, so nothing too crazy coming into these inventories quite yet. Bloodseeker, I reckon he'll be going towards the Hand of Midas. He's spent his gold on something. Let's check out this courier, and yep, there's that Midas recipe right there. So very standard stuff. You see most Bloodseekers will end up going for that Hand of Midas if they get this kind of space early on.
Yeah, I'm curious thereafter what kind of build-up it is this game. Still seeing a nice variety from different Seeker players, either favoring a little bit of that extra move speed, race car build-up. You get the Yules along the way, maybe a Yasha, an SNY leading into a Bash later on, BKB. Probably something he needs to be considering here, though. I don't know. At the same time, you're going against the Song, you're going against the Snare, and that could put you in trouble. Here we go, mid lane. Charge happening on out. Solo says, get the hell back, DK Phobos, but are they going to follow through with more? No, they won't. Thunderstrike lays out. G's going to have to resort to stepping back. Meanwhile, Naga, even gets the bump on the Tusk, but will keep action here as Phobos charges in, gets the connection on the Seema. Oh, what a bash that's going to be connected thereafter. Can we get one more? We can't. Cold Embrace, not going to be saving him from the raise on the return. Solo, obviously it's only a level 2 glimpse, so cooldown's still there, plus he doesn't have enough mana. Gets knocked a couple of times in the noggin from the Lantern. They jump in, he commits.
They bait it.
Coming out from no one, but good grave. If he can make it out in time, conveniently for them, no lucky bash.
Hey, Lil.
From Phobos in the back end there, but Lil is back for revenge. He gets the ensnare off Lil. No, gotta run. Running up to the northern west side, gets ruptured. Lil's gonna go down again. 4-3 when the dust settles. A slight advantage for VP.
My, oh me. Lil comes in, he hits the kill on the Disruptor, then has to throw his life away. We see right there the weakness of the Cold Embrace from the Winter Wyvern, especially against the Shadow Fiend. Sets up for very easy raises and still enough burst damage to cut through that regeneration. Haste Rune on Lil, usually that's hey, I can get out of here, no problem, but you've got Ice Shards to block your way, and the scariest one, perhaps, Rupture. That's a pretty scary spell to have cast upon you when you're hasted up, and that's exactly what happened to Lil right there. I like how VP started off that fight, though. You could tell the Shadow Fiend, very low on HP, had some stick charges, was baiting it on the high ground here as he showed himself. FNG just lingering nearby, had the Grave heal ready to rock and roll. They bursted him back up, tried to turn it on the Storm, but another heads-up play from no one to save that little bit of mana so that he could escape, not going all in on the Shadow Fiend. Still a nice attempt on the Virtus Pro side of things, and good effort from Phobos as well. He hung around just long enough to set up that final kill with that last bit of mana he had with the 1-0-2 build so far with that second point in Greater Bash. Oh, bottom tower goes down.
Yeah, first tower of the game. Doesn't take very long before the 10-minute mark. The bottom tier 1 is going to be dropped. Illidan sporting a very nice level 8. He's second on CS and about 4th as far as net worth goes. Not being too involved in all this action just yet, but that is soon to change. Laguna locked and loaded. And I'm sure he is just itching and ready to put it to use. Hopefully a near facial.
Yep.
The Storm Spirit would be a nice takedown, but he's already level 8 himself. It's going to be a bit tricky here, but I'm curious to see Virtus Pro, who they put priority on in making sure they eliminate from this map, because Night Pash, at this point, can be very difficult. You always have Solo kind of waiting in the wings. Same goes for Seema the Slayer, and we know how many times a Cold Embrace has turned things right around.
Yep. Yeah, Bloodseeker definitely getting maximum space here, and getting that extra kill onto Lil has really boosted up his net worth. Number 1 in a very comfortable spot, and of course he has that Hand of Midas, which will continue to go to work here. One of these carries that really benefits from that extra attack speed, so it isn't completely a sunk cost. And Spirit Breaker, another great example of a hero that does well with the Midas to kind of keep up with the tempos. And we'll see if Phobos goes back for one this game. Looks like he'll go for the Power Treads first, picks up that Belt of Strength. Phobos has had a pretty lackluster game so far. He hasn't died yet. He has assisted in 2 kills, but hasn't really been able to find much farm. Only level 3, and this is the window where Spirit Breaker can kind of make it or break it. If he gets a lot of experience in the laning stage, is level 6 right around this time, he can really be a destructive force, find solo pickoffs, set up for others with another strike. But when you get into this kind of starved window here, it's kind of limited on what you can do. Mag getting a little bit more space. He's closing in on level 6, and sort of a similar story where he'll be a much scarier force when he has that Walrus Punch.
Yeah, Mag is his emphasis on the polar opposite of what Phobos really needs to be at in this game. And, you know, I feel bad kind of ragging on Phobos, but this is the Phobos Spirit Breaker, all right? It's almost a signature tried and true for him. In this game, you could tell he doesn't get to be that kind of enforcer, the bruiser we always like to say. So he's still kind of stuck in sort of a rut. You know, jumping from lane to lane, can't really commit to top too much, but wants to be looking out for an opportunity to at least set something up for his team. But in the meantime, we got no one. Sporting an Invis, still scouting along the bottom, hoping for the secondary rune, which is going to be picked up there. It's a haste as well.
Double runes.
Oh, double big
Dire's
runes.
middle tower is under
Almost gets a
attack.
glimpse of Lil, but decides to divert. Just go for jungling instead.
All right. The Invis was just about to expire anyhow, so pretty small window for him. But he does take out that stack from the Radiant Jungle. Nice victory there for no one. Not only fighting farm for himself, but of course denying that stack farm from VP, presumably for the Lina or the Shadow Fiend here. I think for Virtus Pro, they'll continue to be rather passive until Illidan has his Yules. He's very close now. I think he's just picked up that Void Stone and just waiting for the recipe. Yeah, so it won't be much longer, but that seems to be the key item for this Lina to have the kill power. And now no one just continuing to jack stacks. This isn't a huge one, but still double stacked here. He'll just TP home, and this Shadow Fiend going to be pretty sad when he sees that all of his yummy creeps have been taken away.
That's actually wonderful. I mean, the first double stack is something nice, but now 2 sets is going to really put G off the mark they'd like them to have him at, and he's going to be heading down right now. He was hoping to, be finishing off his mech with this stack. Now he's going to have to be waiting that much longer, and if that's recognized here from Vega, they might look to take a fight sooner than later. Not sure if that's going to be
that's a good point.
Yeah, so we'll see. It looks like they're still putting a lot of priority on getting some of their back staff leveled up. Right now you see at the top lane, Seema the Slayer getting some solo time. They would love to have that Winter's Curse. He's still just sporting a level 4. Mag, though, was able to get to his level 6. In fact, he's almost level 7, so they have that Walrus Punch, which not only obviously does out good damage, but it just locks him in place that much longer. And if you really look at the Vega lineup, having him locked down seems to be something of the utmost importance. Winter's Curse, you got Kinetic Field on Disruptor set up, of course, from your Glimpse, the Vortex Pool, Storm Spirit. You got your Ice Barricade coming out from Tuscan. Of course, you can't forget the Rupture. So this team is all about making Virtus Pro stay in their spot regardless of how mobile they want to be.
Yep, definitely. I think the mech is that other key item that VP will wait for until they really start grouping up and commencing the death ball. Also a couple key ultimates. Still Naga Siren only 5, Dazzle only 5, both Weave and the Song of the Siren. Pretty important when you're grouping up as 5. And you can even just see on the net worth chart here, over the last 2 minutes or so, not much has happened other than just both sides farming away. And you'll see that Dire team scooting into the lead by a nice 700 net worth or so. And most of that is from actually stealing those neutral stacks. Not something to gloss over for sure. It looks like no one having a little bit of lag here. Hopefully they can get this sorted and we can get right back into it. And speaking of no one, he does have that soul ring early on. Looks like he won't be rushing an Orchid this game and instead going for something like a Bloodstone perhaps as his first big core pickup.
that quote-unquote farm accelerator tool. So with that comes, quicker fights, quicker respawns, and overall bigger mana sustain. But this is one of the things, and I know we've been seeing trending through Esportal bloodbaths, rumbles breaking out. It's been a pretty quiet start, but I don't think this game is going to end up very different. Now that we're getting ready to just start to peek into the mid-game, I really am getting a strong inkling that things are going to be turning up here. Once at least they get all level 6s ready to go, Virtus Pro obviously still have to wait out for even DK Phobos to get to level 5. He's 4.5, and you compare that over to Mag, who's 7.5. You could just kind of feel that bit of difference. That's why I just continually put the note out that it's got to be Vega who are going to be looking for the fight first, I'd imagine, because do you really want to go into the later portions of this game, a Shadow Fiend and
Dire's
even a Naga on the other side, puts things a bit in question.
Yeah, and even a support Naga, we've seen through that Owie 2000 play style, like what can happen if a support Naga gets a little bit of space and some alone time in the jungle for a better part of a game. We'll see what build Lil goes for. Has that very basic kit right now, just brown boots, poor man shield, couple of TP scrolls. Could just start pulling up that money and try to grab a relic by that like 25, 30-minute mark or so, depending on how these team fights go. Or you can just buy utility support items and kind of take it from there. A couple options for Virtus Pro. They are very close to this mech on G, however, just a couple hundred gold away, and as he clears up this wave, he will be just about there. So maybe the time is now for Virtus Pro, or not now, but coming momentarily, for them to at least start pressuring some of these tier 1 towers and pull this Bloodseeker out of his lane. He's now picked up his power treads, 1,500 gold. He is farming quickly. He's still about 1,000 net worth up on this Shadow Fiend, so VP have to know that they're at least kind of on the clock, and
Illidan found his first
here we go.
Waiting with that smoke. Gets the Yule's connection combo with the stun Laguna, but the cold embrace keeps him alive. No one's going to be finding a huge static storm to fly out as a response from Vega. Does serious work clearing out Illidan, as well as the follow-up Dazzle. No one on pursuit wants to get Lil, gets the pullback with the Vortex, followed up with the Ice Shards. Snowball, uppercut, and they make it 3 all day. Oh, Illidan thinking that he was going to get the easy kill on Storm Spirit, and Winter Wyvern does what he does, and that is a cold embrace turnaround like I was saying earlier. Big fight.
That was so close. But yeah, Seema just showing us the power of this hero. We'll hold that thought now as another fight will break out as VP come to defend their tier 1. But G, he's in trouble. Isolated, shallow grave. Keeps him alive for now. He will be able to mech. That buys him some HP. Tower's still standing, but pretty darn low. Glyph has already come out. Vega will be repelled, but they won't take any casualties in the process, and still asserting their dominance over this Shadow Fiend as they put pressure on him.
Both those teams have that factor, which is a Dazzle on one side, a Wyvern on the other. You make a committed dive, and next thing you know, you are going to be stuck waiting to see if you either want to finish what you had started to clean your plate, or you have to double back and risk letting it go. But here we go, Yules snagged up. Fizz from FNG, Laguna follow-up, and, well, Mag will be taken care of rather easily, just kind of outside his bounds without his team, and when Virtus Pro really looking for a comeback. So now they're bloodthirsty. Cutting behind the tower. They see Seema. They're going to get the kill. They move in. Try to go for the stun. They fake it once. He flies immediately into the trees. No one shows up with the TP, but goes right into the Light Strike delay. Followed with the Dragon Slave. Still plenty of life to work with. Now comes the weave. Bill charges in, gets the ensnare, but a double pump, and no one is going to make it and retreat back. Static Storm Kinetic Field, pretty moderate damage. It's only on the G for the most part, but here we go. We'll see if Vega want to follow up with more. They don't. Virtus Pro, in the meantime, are going to be healing up with the mech pop from G, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and deter.
Dire's middle towers under
This
attack.
mech has been so important for Virtus Pro. We've seen in all of these skirmishes since it's been picked up. It has turned the tides where Vega definitely would have committed a little bit harder had that heal not come out on the team. So smart itemization for Virtus Pro. I think the right game for Shadow Fiend to go mech over the Yules that we see so commonly. And just taking a glance at the net worth chart tells that story pretty clearly. Vega taking an advantageous fight, and then VP striking back and getting a tower of their own. It is still this Dire side holding on to a good advantage, about 2,500 net worth, somewhere about 5,000 XP. The Bloodseeker still just farming way ahead of everyone else and closing in on a BKB. Now just 500 gold off that last piece, which of course is the Ogre Club. Now VP grouped up as 5. The Death Ball commences here, Dakota, and this time they will get a free tower. Vega not coming to its defense. It'll be Phobos that gets the last hit on that one, and also Phobos dings level 6 somewhere around the fray here. He's picked up that Orb of Venom, now has an Urn of Shadows back at home, so Not all hope is lost for the Spirit Breaker. Maybe Phobos can start setting up some kills now that he has that Nether Strike at his disposal.
Virtus.pro feeling very
Dire
comfortable. Like
structures
Vega
are
are
fortified.
not going to do anything about this,
Radiant's
so they
bottom
even
tower is under
move
attack.
forward. They're going to try to go for
Dire's
this tier
top
2
tower
here,
is
and there
under
is
attack.
no response. Vega, just considering that they're going to be holding out a bit, they do have this very farm Bloodseeker. In comparison to everyone else, he's way in ahead of 3-0 KDA right now. Okay, G tries to time out the record. Get a good Winter's Curse to shut him down. Follow-up Static Storm, but the song says timeout. That's not happening. They decide to reposition. They're moving on forward. No one makes a jump. They try to get the pullback onto G. G, save for the shallow grave. Meanwhile, they're trying to make the finishing blow onto the uppercut of Dazzle, but he makes it back out. He's fine, but they finish off G. Now no one. Looking for the grab onto Lil. 9pash very low on life on this, so has to kind of etch his way from the outskirts. Lil, Snowball flies through. Another big fight for Vega. Phobos manning up here, wants to charge into 9pash, going to get glimpsed back. Meanwhile, it's FNG, who's going to get scouted out. Thunderstrike, now the urn should go down, will go down. Mag secures himself a double kill. When everything is done, it ends up being a 4-1 trade all day. Another big fight for Vega.
Yeah, absolutely. A great hold. And Virtus.pro maybe just getting a little bit cocky there. You can see G's positioning behind the tower. TP coming in, trying to channel that Requiem for the instant pop, sort of that Yule's effect, if you will. And Vega were just ready and waiting for it. They're like, that's an old trick, buddy. They had that Static Storm coming out to interrupt the cast point just as it was about to go off. The Song of the Siren was a decent form of counter initiation, but it just wasn't enough. They'd already lost one before that even started. And without the Requiem going off, it feels like their damage was just not quite up to snuff. As we see these fights transpose here, Dakota, it feels more of like this game is about initiation. Both sides have so many good initiation tools, so much burst damage. It's about who gets the jump, and in that scenario, it was Vega all the way with a really well-placed Static Storm.
Yeah, they had a great jump, and they had a great damage follow-up, and as you said, I said perfectly before, they dished out a good song for repositioning, but by that point, they didn't really have enough ammunition to make the most out of it. She wasn't there.
And the Blood Right.
Yeah, the Blood Right.
That really screwed up that song.
And unfortunately, you know, even Illidan was unable to really dish out his full arsenal. So now, Virtus.pro, they're a determined group, tenacious, and they gather up here. It looks like they're going to have a smoke. They have one on Lil, not popping it quite yet. But they already see a gathering on the G. They get to jump in, the pullback. He's going to go down, gets the mech off, and they go for the curse. It goes on to FNG to lock the Dazzle before he can get off the save. G is still good, though. Will he get the Requiem off? He certainly will. He ends up going down thereafter. Still not enough damage, man. This resilient Vega group are going to look to clear out both cores. They get the big uppercut. A double kill once again from Mag. FNG dishes out the self-shallow grave, but will not go for the TP, so he will end up going down. And look at this. Solo already on the next target. Sets up a beautiful glimpse back on the Naga, and it's going to be the third four-man drop for Vega this game.
This time a clean sweep of 4-0. Vega smoked up to make that play happen, and they just snuck on in there. VP did not seem ready for it. We talked about damage output. They got a Requiem off on the Shadow Fiend, but the key problem was no Song of the Siren. Naga's only level 6. It's a ridiculous cooldown at level 1, 180 seconds. Didn't have that reset tool. VP were just not ready for that. Great play from Vega. They move right into an objective, straight to the Roche pit, but do they actually have the damage for it? Looks like no medallion in any of the inventories quite yet. Roche falling very slowly, and this is a bit of a risky biscuit here. No Requiem, but there is a Song of the Siren, as well as a Laguna Blade. VP could contest this and actually do quite a bit of damage. Song of the Siren gets turned on as they walk into the pit. Blood Right still comes out. That'll force him to split up a little bit. This could still be bad for Virtus.pro. Not the best angle to initiate. FNG, he has to grave himself right away. The bash onto Mag as well as Pasha. They'll both get stunned up. Looks like they'll fall, but Illidan, he'll have to pay with his life. It's a 2-for-2 already. Vega holding on pretty well, but the Static Storm from Solo right on top of 2. Kinetic Field buys him a little bit of space. The charge from Phobos, he barely musters enough mana. Gets a couple of bashes, but no Nether Strike. Solo looking to be in some trouble here. The Raptors on the run, but he will be taken apart. A 2-for-3, Roche still standing. VP do find a successful fight, and they get a big net worth gain out of it.
That was pretty ridiculous. I actually thought that was going to be a turnaround once again onto VP. The song casted from pretty damn far, allowed enough of a reaction time from 9pash. Now we get a swipe here. Go in. Nope,
he misses it.
They don't get it. Shadow Fiend grabs
but Winter's Curse!
Possibly, but they can't get him. They got him down. unstoppable. No one clearing out the rest. You may have taken it, but we're going to go ahead and clear out 2. Now the Requiem return gets the drop on the seam of the Slayer here. Holy crap.
Uh-oh. G stuck in the ice shards. They might be able to pick off G here. His mech just cooling down. If they could kill the Aegis, that would be huge. No one, very low on armor. The Weave ticking him down. He needs to be very careful here. Now the Bloodright comes cruising in, forces G to move to the side. He doesn't want to. That's your Aegis down. And is there going to be enough support to even let him survive a second time? Illidan nearby, but the kinetic field keeping him at bay. And FNG off to the side, isolated by the Tusk, but now the snowball in. G, BKB'd, but still sent back to the position he was moments prior. Gets the grave, just barely lives. He'll stay alive for now. Charge onto Solo. He's hiding in the pit, but they've got the vision. He'll take a Laguna to the face. A little overkill there from Illidan, but finding some vengeance from earlier. Now Tusk on the run. Mag will have that Blink Dagger up in just a second here. Maybe he can make the great escape, or even turn it around onto Illidan. He gives him the Walrus Punch. Bada boom, bada bing to the face. Now he gets put inside of the Ice Cube. He'll be all right as the charge coming on through. They still want Mag. This Walrus going to get some of that blubber trimmed off his back. No, Blinks just in the nick of time, and he will live. Boy, another chaotic fight outside of the Roche pit. This time, Vega, well, they lose 2, but they did finish off the Aegis. So, kind of a break even, maybe slightly advantageous to the Dire.
It's ridiculous. Now, trying to have to look back at the start of how this all happened, probably one of the most long-winded fights I've seen in quite a while. You lead in from Virtus Pro with the song to prevent Vega from finishing off the Roche, which is, you know, with the kinetic field, it kind of forced Naga to start the song from pretty damn far away, so Nightpash had time to dish out the early Bloodright. That kind of threw things off for Virtus Pro. You could clearly see Illidan bull rushing in, hoping to kind of get the lead in with the Yules or something, forced to have to use it on himself. Seema, on the other side, flies himself up to the high ground, ends up putting himself in a bit of an awkward position to save anyone with a cold embrace, and it's just a bit of a hot mess. Luckily, it starts out well for Virtus Pro, but then it draws out long enough for Vega to make their own return. Now top, we see Illidan and Seema dancing around. Seema's going to get Yules up. Nightpash comes in, but Illidan's already on the way out, so you're not going to get the follow-up, and he does not connect with any sort of rupture.
Yeah. Nice TP there from FNG. Not necessary, but would have been in the right spot to save Illidan if he gets dove on there. Medallion of Courage in the inventory, the Dazzle, and already with the Staff of Wizardry, probably a 4th staff. Great item to have against the Disruptor when people are stuck in a static storm. Just a good mobility tool to have in general. Now in the bottom lane, Mag's going to find himself in a world of hurt. Phobos cancels his charge to get off the urn. G coming around the backside is hasted up. Snowball buys him a little bit of time, sigils down, but there's Lil with an ensnare, and Phobos with another strike makes it an easy pick-off. 3-on-1, Tusk will get finished.
Easy Tusk drop, and we'll see as
Radiant's top
Virtus
tower
Pro
is under attack.
doing a pretty damn good job. They want to follow up with the objectives when they get this pick, and I thought they were going to be pushing down this bottom lane, but it looks like they'll step back for a little bit of jungle farm. Vega, attention towards the top where Tier 1 still stands, but Illidan had been camping here for quite a while, along with FNG. We'll see Nightpash creeping on the side, hoping for an opportunity, but they do have Dazzle just in case. There goes the lead in Rupture. They already have the defensive weave. There's the heal. Nightpash thinks he can charge in there, but okay, there's going to be the self-fuels. Illidan brought himself pretty damn low, but look at the turnaround play. No one jumping in. What a quick grave, though, from FNG. No one puts himself to sleep with that jump in. Now getting caught LSA, able to make it away to the north-hand side, but what a nice Winter's Curse. It's on to 4, but it's just kind of a long-range zoning when just starts in their own tower. They get healed up immediately with the mech thereafter, and now it's Virtus Pro looking to go on the offensive. We got Phobos charging in. He's got his target onto no one. No one's still plenty of mana, though, to work with. Will easily be able to hop and bop his way from the aggression. So Virtus Pro not going to be able to get the counterplay, but that is Nightpash coming up short, and what he was waiting a long while for an Illidan pick.
Now VP, maybe they'll continue the 5-man push here. They don't have Song of the Siren for over 2 minutes, but they could still look to try and take a fight. This Naga has also gone Glimmer Cape, Arcane Boots, so not going for that Radiant style support Naga where you just sit back and pull up all that gold. Instead, is committing to some utility-based items here. Looking around at all the other inventories, how are we doing? G's gone for the BKB. He's got that completed. Already seen that 10-second charge debut. And Lena, just as we're looking at it, picks up that Aghanim Scepter. Always a big upgrade on her, changing that ult to pure damage. Now BKB not quite the same item in the inventory of 9 Posh here. Have to be wary of that big burst damage that can still cut through. Also, something we haven't mentioned, this Storm has a lot of Bloodstone charges here, Dakota. He's up to 13 and very close to an Orchid. Has that first Oblivion Staff and about to complete his second.
Ooh, Mag, bit of deja vu here potentially. Phobos leads in, stops off, does the earn first. There's another strike bump back. Will be there for Illidan. Illidan ends up the easy 1-2 punch. Dragon Slave Laguna. Mag is dead, plus a 110 gold extra for the single kill. Very good here for Virtus Pro. They might just segue this into a push on the bottom lane if they so choose. A magical haste rune has popped up here for G. I don't see any reason why they won't, but I say that, and every time they decide that they're going to be doing something a bit different, they rotate all the way to the top lane, and they'll just kind of keep the pressure away, at least for now.
All right, both sides split onto their own sides of the map, and just starting to farm up some more core items. Looks like Glimmer Cape has also come out on the Dire side. Seam of the Slayer will grab the first one for the Vega Squadron. And Solo is making some progress towards that Aghanim Scepter. Still a little ways to go here, but does have that point booster up. And that is a game-changing Ags upgrade for sure if he'll be able to farm it. And both sides now not really pressuring objectives. Most of the tier 1s have gone down. There's still one standing in the top lane for the Radiant, but neither team with really a strong pushing lineup, so breaking these tier 2s is only going to come after a pick-off or some sort of a failed team fight on one side of the coin or the other. Still a little while before Roche comes up, so maybe both teams thinking they'll push off the backside of an Aegis if they can secure Roche too.
Really love the idea of Disruptor. It's clear after Wyvern, finish off the Glimmer, which is just like a classic Winter Wyvern cookie cutter build-up. They can prioritize more farm onto this Disruptor, so if he gets that sweet AoE Doom, you're going to be rendering so much of Virtus Pro pretty damn useless. Credit to him, he's been connecting with some pretty big static storms this game thus far, but I can't speak for how this will progress from here on out. Virtus Pro seem to be kind of in good position now to find these kind of picks. We saw it twice there on Mag in the bottom lane. And they're just looking for the fights that they choose here. They haven't stopped as far as a pick and objective follow-up, and they'll be creeping mid lane, but Vega on the prowl, bottom. Thought maybe they would be smoking up at this point, but they're just going to run through the old-fashioned way here, and
Dire's
I don't
middle
think they're going
tower
to be
is under
finding any
attack.
Virtus Pro members very soon.
Nope, Lil, the only one in the vicinity here, lingering behind the tier 2 in the bottom lane, and with a Glimmer Cape, he's pretty hard to actually lock down. There is a smoke in the inventory of the Naga as well, so VP could look for some kind of a smoke play in the near future. Also, G closing in on the Eye of Scotty. Both ultimate orbs already in tow as we see the Naga pick up the Gem of True Sight, one of the better gem carriers in the game. Of course, the illusions do get that True Sight propagated to them, so he'll be able to scout around. And oh, daddy, that's a dead Bloodseeker. Nice setup there from the leader to get this fight started, but Static Storm Kinetic Field connects on 4. G pops the mech, and out comes the Song of the Siren. No one set up on. G gets off a big ultimate here. They'll kill the Disruptor. Down goes Seema. Now no one. Locked down and brought down. It's a 1 for 4. Tusk looks like he'll be able to limp away. He's got the Blink Dagger. He'll just TP out. What a fight for Virtus Pro. It all starts from the power of the Lina, taking that Bloodseeker from full to nothing in just the blink of an eye.
That's the burst potential, and something Bloodseeker not happy with, but one lone survivor here. At least for now, no one using the benefit of those Bloodstone charges, which he had a lot of now, taken down a notch. Virtus Pro, though, this isn't their first rodeo. They know that Storm's alive. They should be scouting the high ground just in case. They're pinging out the top shelf.
They can see the remnants.
Oh, to go in this time. Still no snag again. Both Radiant pick it up and the kill and the wipe thereafter. Second try this game for poor little no one, and he's going to be 0 for 2.
Yeah, a noble effort there. Almost timed it right, but with the medallion and all the physical damage of the Shadow Fiend, it's really hard to find that last hit on the Roche to even just snatch the last hit. So you're just hoping for the Aegis. And you know G is just spamming on the ground. Give me that Aegis. Very, very difficult to time, especially when there's no distraction. If you've got your Disruptor there and he drops the ulti, it kind of makes the other team panic, think twice right as Roche falls, then maybe you can do it. Just running in by yourself, that is a very difficult play to actually pull off. So You got to give him some credit for taking the risk, but we'll hold that thought now as G in the front lines taking a lot of damage, just laying into this tier 2 tower. He'll survive through it, and now the fight breaks out. Static Storm onto Illidan. He takes the Walrus Punch as well, but he'll just survive through it. Snowball not going to be enough to finish him off. Instead, it's the Bloodseeker that goes down first. G still alive with the Aegis Laguna to bring down the Winter Wyvern. Solo on the run, but he'll get charged. He gets finished off, and all of a sudden, this game looking horrid for the Vega Squadron. It's a 3-0. All 3 dead heroes are lacking buyback. This is all of a sudden a high ground siege. Sure, they've got a glyph, but very limited on options here, Dakota.
This is probably why you need to also make sure you ban a Shadow Fiend when you're going against Virtus Pro, especially when they're on Radiant side. G plays this hero like a fiend. There's no other way to say it. Suddenly, top peaking net worth. He's able to freely dish out the serious amounts of right-click. Not even a Cold Embrace is going to save you from his wrath, and because of it, they easily secure a tier 3. They're going to be securing both sets of racks. This is the biggest economy boost of the game. All going to Virtus Pro. No one just hoping to maybe latch onto someone on the way out. Illidan says, no, we're going to, in fact, take you out. They get a nice Yules, but hey, Mag's there to save with a snowball roll forward. Virtus Pro say they might not want to test their luck any further, but no, Seema comes in. Very nice Winter's Curse. They get the finish on the FNG. No one dumps in, has no more mana. Tries to get a save with the Glimmer Cape, but no. He ends up committing suicide. Will go down out for 40 seconds. The follow-up Requiem as they take out the Winter Wyvern, and they take Vega out of game number 1.
Okay, game 1. Man, what a topsy-turvy game. You look at this graph, and pretty even. Yeah, Vega's doing well, and then Virtus Pro, when they strike something fierce and putting some hurt on this dire side. Very nice execution, and you know, there's been a lot of talk about G recently, who's been playing out of his mind. In this game, I think a great example of that. They had a reasonably slow start, but in that mid game, he just farmed so well. The Illidan Lina, we questioned it a little bit, and it